Are we?
I think we're live. Okay, well,
Okay.
let's go live.
All right.
Welcome. This is Inside Times with Kids Hurt 2 Hawaii, bringing to you information, knowledge, skills about how to support grieving and traumatized children and families,
Including adult, right?
including adults. Yes. So we are here today to talk with you about safety. I may have mentioned this before or numerous times before, but to be honest with you, you can't say it enough.
Right.
Safety is the most important part of the work that we do because you cannot heal trauma or move through grief unless you feel safe.
Right.
This is why families are so important, support from families, but not just families, but support from other people in our lives, our community. Are you going to be able to track people's
I
questions?
try to.
If
But
you, you have to. So,
okay.
let me read you a quote really quickly from Bezel van der Kolk. If you don't know who Bezel van der Kolk is, Google him and read some of his stuff. He's amazing. He is the national expert in trauma work, has done numerous research projects. Great, great resource. He says, being able to feel safe with other people is probably the single most important aspect of mental health. Safe connections are fundamental to meaningful and satisfying lives. The most important aspect,
To be safe.
feeling safe. And that's one of the main things that we provide at Kids Hurt 2. It's what our state is providing in this pandemic. It's working to provide. It's what we are doing for each other when we wear masks in public or in a group situation, as we are protecting each other. We are being safe. And being a safe person is one of the things that we train our volunteer facilitators in at Kids Hurt 2 Hawaii, because a lot of times people don't understand what's safe, how their behavior may not be safe to a child. And so having that understanding is a key to the work that we do for our volunteers, key to our volunteers to understand the work that we do. Safety starts with awareness, and awareness starts with you. So awareness is probably the skill that we train our facilitators in the most. I mean, in some ways, I always say it's 90% of the work. The rest after that is easy. The 10% is the easy part. But awareness can be a real challenge. So having awareness. Did you get it set here also that you can see?
Yeah, but nobody's.
You don't have to hold it? Okay. So awareness is that number one skill. And we build into that a whole lot of pieces because there's a lot of sides to awareness, a lot of facets to it. Awareness of current understanding of grief and trauma, and that we provide in our training. Current understanding. There is a lot of misinformation or lack of information. I'd say lack of information with respect to trauma and misinformation with respect to grief, but there's some on both sides. So we really have to get ourselves aware of and knowledgeable about current understanding of grief and trauma. And that's what we did in the first 6 sessions of our series, our Inside Time series. We did lots of education around current state-of-the-art understanding of grief and trauma. So having that knowledge brings awareness. having an understanding of how you as an individual are impacted by grief and trauma, and what that has meant in your own growth and development, and how that continues to affect you in your life, and to recognize, when it comes up, and to recognize when it's triggered by something. So a lot of times people haven't felt safe anywhere, so they have not had the opportunity to work on their own experiences of grief and or trauma. So getting an opportunity to find safety, a safe place where you can process that. Now, a training is not therapy, it's training. So we set some guidelines, establish a structure so that people can only share or will only share at the level that feels safe for them.
Yeah.
And, in our training, we do invite our facilitators to explore their experience and to share it if they want to, but only at the level they feel safe. And we provide them with safety protocols after that part of the training so that they can continue to be safe and care for themselves in a safe way after that day of training and for the days following. So those are two aspects: knowledge of state of the art, grief and trauma research, and knowledge of ourselves. So awareness includes those things. It also includes other things. It includes understanding child development, understanding how children are impacted by grief and trauma, which is different than adults, understanding how children communicate and how they express the grief and trauma in their bodies. So getting a real sense of what that looks like, and then developing the skills for that active or interactive participation that we talk about so much. It's one thing to understand why children are doing what they're doing. It's another thing to interact with what they're doing. And we often don't interact in a safe way and don't realize it. We don't mean to interact in an unsafe way because we're not always sure what it means to interact in a safe way. So first of all, recognizing that any time we are around other people or with other people, we are participating in some type of communication. Even not saying anything, silence is a form of communication. Yeah. So recognizing how we impact others, how we are impacted by them, having a sense of the energy around us, around others, in the atmosphere. We talk a lot about energy in our training because really we are working with energy, and we try to maintain this unconditionally accepting environment that children come into so that they can instantly feel safe, because love is not communicated through actions. It's communicated through energy. And so the energy that we bring into a situation is going to impact how children perceive us and how children perceive whether they're safe or accepted. So we really have to recognize our own energy and what we're bringing to a relationship or a participation.
Smile.
Exactly. We smile.
When you work with kids.
You always use your face, and your voice as a tool to communicate, I accept you, you're safe. And smiling is one of those things, and talking in a very soft way that's communicating calmness and patience, if you will, And this is true not just in our program and the groups that we do, but in every aspect of life. Every aspect. Our relationships, our homes, at the store, especially now when we go out to the store, we really have to consider what is safe. I mean, right now we have such a high spike in our COVID cases, and so that really creates a lot of fear in me, and I don't feel safe to
You don't
even
wanna
go
go
out.
out.
You know, it's
Yeah.
like it's wrecking my sense of
Mhm.
safety. You
Right.
know,
Right.
and so
Watching the news.
watching the news, I mean, it's like,
No.
oh my goodness. So there are a lot of parts to safety right now.
Mhm.
You know, wearing a mask.
Right.
And then if smiling is so important to communicating safety, how are we going to do that while we're
With the
wearing a
mask,
mask?
your eyes.
So then
Your
we're going
eye
to have
tells
to
everything.
smile with our eyes. I don't know. Can I smile? My eyes just kind of
This is
close
very-
up when I smile.
I don't know.
Um,
Well,
Yeah.
kids can see them.
Yeah,
Your
I mean,
eyes.
I was thinking we should have clear masks, you know, if that's even possible, but might look into it. But seriously, that's a concern I have in coming back to in-person groups is that we all have to wear masks, and how are we going to communicate that? So then what's going to become even more important is our voice and how we use our voice, because children may not be able to see us smiling.
But if you have a relationship already with the children, they pretty much, you okay?
Excuse me, I didn't bring my water.
What? You want it? You got it?
Go ahead. What were you saying again?
No.
Yes is yes.
I forgot.
Well, sorry about
The
that.
money went to the water. Oh, no.
Yes is
Yes.
Communicating safety
Right.
while you're wearing a mask.
Hmm.
Using your voice.
Oh no, that children, I've been working with,
Mhm.
they pretty much know, my smile
That's
is about,
true.
So when
Yeah.
I'm kind of,
That's true.
like I can use stop. I mean, but otherwise I'm like, hey,
Yeah.
what do you want to do?
And I think
Right?
you make a good point that the children we've been working with, they know us. They know
Mhm.
our um, our presence is an accepting presence. They know your smile.
Mhm.
And I think that's true for many of the volunteers too. They know
Right.
that they're safe.
Mhm.
So that's going to be helpful
Right.
in bringing back our in-person groups. Of course,
Mhm.
we're not going to know if we can even do that for the next couple of weeks.
Right.
Yeah.
You gotta keep eye on, numbers, and it's sad, but I just talked to the Uncle Sam, South Friday Spirit Session about South Photo Soul.
Mm,
We're trying to do it August 22nd,
mm,
but it depends,
yeah.
so, but we're gonna
Yeah.
try to open up the group, in-person group, July 15th,
Depending on how things go
Right.
since 4th of July.
Right.
That week, you mean? But
Mhm.
yeah. So hopefully we'll
But
the number of cases will start to go down, and if people are continuing to be safe and practicing.
all my friends are
safety.
watching.
Oh,
Hey,
great.
Jen-san.
Hi, thanks for joining us.
Go! 元気京子さん、先日はどう
Here, you
も。
can look at the camera and talk
Right.
to them.
Oh, that's right. Where was I talking to?
You were talking to the phone.
Oh, okay, my phone.
That's right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So feel free to ask any questions you might
Yeah.
have in the work that
質問
you're
があれば
doing
聞いてくだ
or
さい。
in your environment, that you would need. And
Yeah.
you kind of have to page up. Okay, no, that's it.
Nope. Yeah.
I wonder why it's not showing up in here. I don't see any comments. Oh, why is it?
Mhm.
Oh,
Don't lose it.
okay. We're still live.
Mm-hmm.
But I just never quite understand how comment moderation. I don't know what that
Oh, I just
means.
waved at them.
Hi, everybody.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us today. Yeah, we're going to have a short session today because we're only going to talk about the importance of safety.
Mhm.
Safety and again, quoting Bessel van der Kolk, is the single most important aspect of mental health. We all need it, especially children who are traumatized or who are grieving, they really need that safety. You cannot heal until you feel safe. Healing, your body will remain in a constant state of vigilance or fear if you're not feeling safe. So trauma can't heal. And the importance of healing trauma is calming that nerve, that large nerve in the body, calming it down, allowing the lower parts to calm so the upper part can activate and we can begin to feel connections and be creative and to learn. And so if we can't calm down because we don't feel safe, then no healing can happen. So we really have to understand the importance of creating safety, being a safe person. And again, learning to be a safe person is about awareness, which is huge. It's 90% of the work. We're always checking our awareness. So with our program, we have pre and post meeting, and all of that is about working on awareness of ourselves, how we're feeling in the moment, what we bring, what energy we bring to group, awareness of the impact of the children's work on our own personal experience, awareness of any concerns we might have. I mean, we're always exploring awareness, always trying to understand.
She insists watching.
What is? Oh, that's nice.
Other things I was thinking. Excuse me. Like a teasing. Like
teasing.
Everybody's gonna have everybody have a lot of time spending each other inside a house, and
children tease each
other,
other,
brothers and sisters, and maybe it can't happen.
Teasing is something we have a guideline for volunteers. No teasing.
In training, we
talk about it. No teasing, because unless the child knows you well and understands you well and feels like they can be free with you, then teasing is going to be communicated as hurtful or fearful, create fear. So we don't allow teasing. Adults tend to think it's fun and funny, but children may not understand the meaning and what a person is doing when they're teasing. But at home, with your family, with your siblings, you know them. If your sibling teases you and you don't like it, you can tease them back, or you can get a parent.
I remember when teasing, I still remember, orphanage, growing up orphanage, we are told that, hey, you guys are born in under the bridge, and then somebody took you two guys, to the orphanage.
Was that hurtful?
Yeah, I remember. I feel like, really? I just, always like, because when, ambulance come around, they call it in Japan, yellow car, yellow ambulance. That means, the cuckoo keeps going. And hey, the yellow ambulance come to pick you guys up. And,
so that's
real crazy.
Yeah.
It's part of, teasing.
Yeah, teasing, but hurtful.
Yeah, it was. But, it was a part of conversation.
And that communicates that I'm not a safe person if I say things like that. That you can't trust me, you can't feel safe around me. And so what happens is children often will avoid or ignore or get angry or upset and move away, pull away.
I still remember. It's almost more than 40 years ago. I remember that.
Yeah.
Just like I don't know why they say that kind of thing. But
I don't know. Children can be very cruel to each other, and that's one of the things we have to watch very carefully.
It's adults told us that.
Oh, adults told you that?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, that's
and
terrible.
then also older kids. Hey, your car is come, pick you up, you might need to go to the different hospital.
Yeah, I think that's the whole point, is that adults
teasing,
don't
right?
often realize how harmful their teasing might be. So we really have to be aware, be conscious, focus on how somebody is reacting to what we're saying, because that will give you the clue
Big time question mark,
about, what's the impact I'm having by that communication? And is that creating distrust, lack of safety, hurt feelings? I mean, it's really about watching how other people react to you, and that's a big awareness bringer as well. If you really pay attention to how other people react to what you're doing or saying, you're going to have a clear understanding of the effects that you're having and whether or not you're communicating what you want to communicate.
Yeah. It's a lot of
I
teasing.
just tease a lot too, come to
No.
think about
I
it.
tease a lot of kids too because of that.
What little I
you know.
remember in my childhood, I do remember a
horrible.
couple of
I
painful
do. Yeah.
teasing incidents, and yeah. So I very strongly stress no teasing. And if I see teasing happening in a group setting, then I will quickly, interrupt.
No, interrupt.
I don't do that. Do I do that? No. Well, I'm not above it. Let me just put it that way. Because it does concern me. And, we don't do things, at Kids Hurt Too, like we don't have things that children can't have. So we don't have food, candy or soda or something that children can't have when they're there.
Chewing gum.
Chewing gum. We don't have that because if we have it and they can't have it, that creates a subordinating atmosphere. And when you create a subordinating atmosphere where you have somebody up here and somebody down here, that's not a safe environment.
It's not equal.
It is not equal.
Environment.
And a safe environment requires peer relationships. You have to be in a peer relationship in order to feel safe. And that's why we bring our own personal experience to the group. We're open about it, not at length, but in just a very short amount of time. We're open about our own experience because we want to create that peer atmosphere, that sense of I'm a griever too, or I've had similar problems, issues, experiences, and so we always are looking for where our experience can match that of the children's, and bringing that in and sharing that with them so they feel that sense of equality, peer relationship, which will then create a sense of safety. It's why we need our friends. Our friends help us feel safe.
That's what teenagers missing. Friends. I mean, everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody.
Yeah. Yeah, because we need that sense of safety in our lives. According to Nelson Mandela, safety and security don't just happen. They are the result of collective consensus and public investment. We owe our children, the most vulnerable citizens in our society, a life free of violence and fear. So if we understand that sometimes teasing, lecturing, shaming, those are things that can do violence to our emotions and to our sense of self. It may not cause physical harm, but it can cause psychological harm, emotional harm, and it can instill fear. If I can't feel safe with you because I expect that you're going to shame me, or you're going to make fun of me, or you're going to in some way judge me. I mean, seriously, judging, interpreting, those are all forms of shaming and subordinating others. So we have to bring our awareness to understand that we cannot be judging or interpreting what children are saying or doing, because that happens from our own sense of what is important or values. Labeling. I mean, to me, is like the worst thing you can do to a child is label, especially in a school environment, because then that label stays with children, follows them all the way through their school, and it begins to define them. And where they had lots of potential to be different or do different, but they didn't reach it because they got labeled and locked into this very narrow understanding of who they are, and other people continue to treat them that way and continue to reinforce that label, which is essentially a form of shaming, really. I have to say that,
Yeah,
you know,
shaming.
nobody likes to hear that, but it's true.
Yeah. Especially like children don't want to be feel different, you know. I remember, you know, we are the only kids who don't live with their parents, you know, because they behave like that because they don't live with parents. You know, that's like, thank you for reminding me. So, you know, yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, it
foster
happens a
children,
lot.
foster children. You know.
Especially foster
Even
children.
you know, Hollywood movie. Oh, because he was in foster care or grew up with their parents.
Yeah,
That's why. You know,
they act this way or
Yeah.
do that,
Mhm.
instead of saying
right.
something must be really difficult for them,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and so let's look at what that is, because again, grief and trauma are in your body, so they can only be experienced in the moment. It's not about the past. It's not about because you were this or that. It's about what's happening right now. And, you know, because a lot of times what's happening right now is just as painful and hard for a child as what happened in the past, because their body is continuing to respond to situations that are not safe. And that's what our body does. I mean, our body's a very smart healing machine. And if it senses that something is dangerous or someone is not safe, speaking of healing,
Yeah, it's like healing my the river game. Yeah, so when we do events like for example skateboarding event, we ask children to wear the helmets and elbows and knees. Some kids don't need it, but
they still have
safety,
to wear it.
yes.
Safety is always our
Right.
our primary objective, and it's the thing that we talk about the most, and it's like a mantra in our work. Do you feel safe? Is it safe for you? Always checking in with children to see if they're feeling safe
Wow.
in the moment.
Today's everybody's watching all Japanese, my friends.
Oh, today we have a Japanese
Oh,
audience.
in Japan
Thank
has
you.
It's a lot of, you know, like a natural disaster going.
Right.
Sazan,
Right.
like Kumamoto and Kyushu.
Right.
So more than 50 people died.
Yeah. It's a hard
Right.
year. I mean, there's so much to deal with this year.
Right.
And then that, you know, and it takes a long time, I'm sure, for people to recover their sense of safety in the world when they're impacted by natural disasters or diseases or, you know, just it's even like crime, victims of crime, you know, it's really hard to reestablish a sense of safety in the world.
Yeah.
That's why the work that we do at Kids Hurt Too is so important and valuable, because we are providing children and families with that sense of restored safety, even if it's just for that 2 hours that they're in our groups, in our program. You know, if it's just for that time, a little bit goes a long way. Just a small amount of feeling safe, feeling heard, feeling understood, feeling accepted, that can become a well that never empties. That can become a resource for a child their whole life.
Yeah, that's what's so difficult now, because, you know, to do groups, we have to have a field. I mean, we have to have safety for everyone.
Yes.
You know, is our, you know, like a
Right.
facilitate safe, and
Right.
you know, COVID free, and
Have to do
participants
a lot.
are, you know, like
Yeah.
free from you know, COVID. And am I free? Am I, you know? I'm sure I am, because I don't hang out with people now, unfortunately. So you know, we have to create.
Yeah.
We have to create
Mhm.
safety, the most important,
Yeah.
you know, things,
Right.
you know, to do events and groups.
Right.
You know, otherwise, I cannot invite children and families, you know,
Mhm.
if I don't feel safe, if they feel safe.
Yeah, and I know
You know.
we did a survey, and some people don't feel safe yet and don't want to come to an in-person program. And
Right.
some people do. So all of our needs for feeling safe vary depending on the person and your
Right.
experiences. But it is a huge thing for us to really put into place all the safety protocols that are needed at a time like this, you know, in addition to the ones we already have in place, just, you know, for our groups that we've been doing for 20
Right.
years now. And so, yeah, it's, hi, Uchi.
ひとみさん、日本ですよね、
She's
今
one of
ね。
our facilitators.
And then Uchi is a facilitator.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining today.
Yeah.
If you're just tuning in, today is we're coming to you live on Inside Times for Kids Hurt to Hawaii's educational outreach, and talking about safety and the importance of safety is our topic today. And we're going to have a short program today, so I apologize if you just joined us because we're getting ready to sign off and yeah.
We miss you all.
Yeah, we miss you all, and thank you so much for
Wow.
joining us. And remember to let safety be your mantra. Be safe.
Yeah.
Be a safe person by having awareness about how you impact others with your words or actions. Be safe. Excuse me.
Be safe at this moment. Wear masks. You know.
Thank you.
Wash your hands. And then
Exactly.
I will feel safe if I come home and I take shower.
Yeah.
Because if I take shower, I just wash hands many
Yeah, longer than 20
minutes.
seconds.
Yeah,
huh?
longer than 20 seconds and hair, then the bodies, and I feel so safe.
Yeah.
You know, to go back to, you know, after work, you know, office and come back from shopping, and because
Right.
otherwise, you know, do I have a COVID? You know, we live
You
with
don't
you and the
know,
mom, and you know,
Thank you for keeping us
yeah.
safe.
So
Appreciate that.
that's you know always,
Mhm.
you know, because now mainland, you know, just amazingly spiking, huge.
Well, here too.
I know, but it's a 40, but they're like what, 9,000,
That's for their whole
5,000.
state, though.
Yeah.
Our state, our population is, you know,
Right,
like
right.
smaller, so those are just as significant for us as they are
So that's why
for the mainland. So,
you
yeah.
using awareness around the safety, then you might think about not only yourself but also other people. You know, wash your hands, and wear masks, and I just have a difficult time to comprehend because the expert on you know, infectious disease tell over and over and thousand. I mean, so many.
Yeah.
Many,
How is it that anyone would ever go
expert.
outside of their home without a
Right,
mask?
without a
After
mask and
all that we know, and so knowledge
Right.
sometimes isn't enough. We just have to have a good heart,
Right.
you know, even though we may not understand why it's important, we have to do what is important. To have a good heart, in the work that we do with children, putting our own ego aside, putting our own, you know, self-serving behaviors aside, and really focusing on the children in front of us and the families and the need for safety. And creating safety is our most important it's the most important thing we can do in life for others, is to create safety, to be safe, to be a safe person, to create a safe relationship and connection. And so we invite you to join us as a volunteer. We will be doing a training, hopefully
in
August. Keep your fingers crossed
Sapporo,
things
August
will get
22nd.
better. And, you know, if not, then we'll just wait until they do.
Otherwise, I just keep visiting, you know, the family one by one, jump ropes and bees making and
You've
you
been
know,
doing that,
coral
reaching
and
out and visiting families.
taking
and-
surfing and
Yeah.
before I hit my rib again with my youth.
Be safe.
Yeah, be safe.
Well, you were actually
Yeah.
trying to be safe for somebody else,
Yeah.
and then ended up getting injured because you were trying to avoid
Oh,
that other person getting injured.
Uncle Ronald broke his leg.
Mm.
I miss so many people, so many things. I miss my kids. I mean, children and kids up to Hawaii. I miss the groups. I miss my dad.
Yeah.
You know, because of safety reason, I decided to not to go back to Japan to celebrate my dad 95 years old birthday bash. You know.
Yeah, that's hard. Yeah, we had to do things that, or not do things that we wanted to do. And is there a question? Hi,
No, it's
Tony-san.
every. Wow. Oh, Shun's sister, then
Uh-huh.
Jun-san's there. You know, because of COVID, you know, I still have a Shun's, you know, cremain and.
Is Hitomi asking a question?
No.
Is that a question?
It's a mahalo.
Oh.
No. Hi, she's in Japan.
Oh, you're in Japan.
Yeah, Hitomi-san is in Japan.
Be safe.
Be safe. No, Japan is safe. Everybody's wearing
Yes,
masks.
I know. I love that
Clean
about
and-
Japan. And
Yeah.
I know there was a time that I was flying back from Japan or flying to the mainland or, you know, and I started wearing a mask after you and I met and got married. You know, I started wearing a mask and I was the only one in the entire airport wearing a mask, and only one in the
In
entire
Tokyo?
airplane. No, in the U.S.
Oh, in the U.S. Yeah.
And people would look at me, you know, like, what's wrong with her? You know, and the stewardess asked me, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "Yes, I am. I just want to keep it that way. I don't want to get sick." And she'd be, "Oh, okay. Well, now I might not be the only person if I travel."
No, you have
but-
to. You have to wear a
Of
mask.
course, absolutely.
I would put
So,
antibiotics
I
in my
hope that-
nose. And, you know, that's what
Yeah.
I do.
So now we all need to be wearing masks when we travel, especially. And if you do decide to travel, take care, be safe.
Right.
You know, do all the things that we need to do to keep each other safe and healthy. And in the meantime, you know, thank you for tuning in today
Right.
to listen to our talk on safety.
Mhm.
I can't say enough about it.
Right.
I may have already done this before and talked about it, but I always feel like it's such an important topic that, you know, it just, you cannot underestimate the importance of
Safety.
safety in all things that we do, especially in how we interact with each other and the work that we do with grieving and traumatized children.
Right.
So thank you for joining us today, and we look forward to seeing you. I guess we'll be back in 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
In 2 weeks.
Oh,
And
I want to hang out
thank
with
you for
everybody.
tuning in. And
Thank you.
if you have any questions, please feel free to
In Japanese
Email-
question 日本語で質問があれば
email him.
イメールしてください。
or
Oh,
me in
message me.
English.
Question in English to her. Question in Japanese. 日本語の質問は私のところにください。
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Aloha.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye bye. Still live. Still
No,
live.
I'm trying to end it.
Still live. Still live.
Why can't I see
No.
the cursor? There it is. Oh my